Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Let's roll right into some positivity. Who wants to share something? Who's already starting their Wednesday off with a bang? Come on, somebody's got to have something. Frankie, what do you
I'm
got?
waiting to hear if my first real offer is going to get accepted today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know I feel like you've written a bunch. Why do you say your first real offer?
Because I think this one's like really might be accepted. You know, it was a solid offer. It was good terms, conventional loan, solid EMD. I think it's going to get accepted. And if not, we'll try again.
Can you walk me through the process? When did you show it? What kind of communications have you had with the listing agent, etc.? So you showed it when? How long has it been on the market?
Showed it on Saturday.
Okay.
I had
How long has it
shown
been
this
on?
young lady a couple other properties beginning of the week. I showed it Saturday. It was her and her parents. They absolutely all loved it.
How long has it been on the market, Frankie?
Saturday was 1 day.
Okay, brand new. Okay.
Yeah. So I talked to the listing agent, and she was really nice. She's from Berkshire. She knows the lender pretty well. Everything seemed to be a go. She's really nice on the phone. We text back and forth a few times.
How many offers on the property?
She texted me on Monday and she's like, look, we're in a multiple offer situation. They want highest and best by last night, and we'll definitely know either way today.
Okay.
So
did you ask the question of what can I do to make sure my people get it?
I did. She was kind of vague about that. She didn't really get into
what was her response? Hey, Frankie, my buyers are really interested in your listing. What do I got to do to win this one, man? What was her response?
Like I said, she didn't really say much. She was like, oh, we're just taking offers and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, I told her putting a good solid deposit down and we really want it. And we're going to do a 30-day close. Then we were joking around because I know she knows the lender. So I'm like, so it's going to happen. Like, this guy's pretty solid and it's all going to work out really good.
I would offer in that situation, I would continue to press. If you don't ask, you don't get. Right? Hey, I know you guys are highest and best by tomorrow. Do you have any inclination about the closing date? Your people looking to get out quick, or is this like, hey, a 60 or a 90-day close might benefit them? Right? If they're not going to give you anything, let's try and get some info out of them.
Right on.
Okay. I mean, sometimes a listing agent doesn't even know the different ways that you can alter a deal to make it in their client's best interest. Hey, man, I noticed that your sellers seem to be a little bit older. Would it help at all if we just took some of the furniture, and my people will take it and we'll deal with getting rid of it? They were kind of stressed about all that moving and stuff, So yeah, man, if you could put that in your offer, that would be great. Right? So just because they're not giving you anything doesn't mean we can't get what we want. Let's ask some questions.
Yeah, right on.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did the lender call the listing agent?
He sees her like daily, so he's probably talked to her already about it. He did ask me to CC him on the offer, so he is on that
not
part.
Good enough, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to tear you apart here, Frankie, because I know most agents are making these same mistakes. Not good enough. When we have a buyer that wants to get an offer accepted, we've got to do absolutely everything that we can to get that offer accepted. And having that lender reach out to the listing agent, hey, Julie, I know we work together a bunch. Man, let me tell you about Frankie's clients. These guys are a slam dunk, right? I know he lost out on another property with them or whatever the case might be, right? Anything else, Julie, that we might be able to do? Anything else that you want to see in this offer? Anything else you want to see with regards to the financing? because I'm telling you, these guys are rock solid and this deal's going through. That's what I need out of my lender.
That's what's up.
Maybe,
Yeah, I like
right?
that.
Maybe the lender can get some inside info. If the lender's got that good of a relationship with Julie, right? He wants to do a deal with that lender. So do you think the lender wants to do this deal? Of course he does. Let's get a lender that gets on the phone, right, and has a conversation and see if he can get a couple of pieces of nuggets, right? He might call you back and, hey, Frankie, like, dude, we're in third. You know, I've been working with Julie for 20 years. We got to get these clients up or they're not getting this thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot him a text right now and see if
You
he's
know?
anything like that. Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even think about like something like that. That's awesome.
Good. And I appreciate the way that you're handling the constructive feedback, right? Of just like, hey, dude, great idea. Like, these are the little things, right? It's not just a call to the listing agent and we send an email over. We've got to use every lever that we can to get deals accepted. All right?
Yeah, right on. Yeah, no, I
So,
appreciate that feedback. I need
yep.
that. That's awesome.
You know, hey, look, I know these guys are FHA, right? And I know some listing agents can get a little bit nervous about FHA, right? I'm going to have my lender call you. This thing is a slam dunk. They could have gone conventional, right? We're deciding to go FHA for X, Y, and Z reasons, right? They wanted to keep a little bit more in reserves, but I don't want you to think that this one's teetering. It's an FHA deal. Hey, property looks like it's in good condition. I don't think we're going to have any FHA issues, right? So I'm just trying to relieve any stressors that listing agent and that seller might have about our offer. Right now, I don't know if this client's FHA or VA or whatever, but if you've got FHA clients, see if we can get them approved for conventional so that I can make this statement to this listing agent. Hey, these guys can go conventional. Matter of fact, I'm going to send you over conventional pre-approval. I want you to feel confident in the offer that I'm presenting. They're choosing to go FHA because of this or that, right? And based on the property condition, I don't think it's going to matter. I just didn't want you to not accept our offer because another one's conventional.
Yeah. Most of my clients are FHA, but this one happens to be conventional. But like most everybody else is FHA. Like I got one guy who's looking for a multifamily in New Haven with an FHA, and it's just not working out. Like there's not many that'll go, you know. Yep. But he just changed up like his contract at work, so he's got more money coming in, so his approval is a little bit higher. So I'm hoping like we're in a different class now of multifamily homes for this guy.
So when you guys have FHA clients, get them to our preferred and see if we can get them conventional. Right? Maybe with one lender, they got to go FHA. With another lender, we can get them conventional. Because I promise you, if you're not having the conversation I just had with the listing agent, and it's a conventional versus your FHA, same price, you lose.
Yeah.
Right? Baby, what do you got?
I just had two quick thoughts on the conversation. So the first one was always be careful with the quick closes, right? Because for a buyer's agent, we think of that as being a super positive thing. For a seller, it could be a little stressful, right? So, and I just encountered this in the listing that I had taken over, that these buyers wanted to close really fast, and that was one of the biggest deterrents for the seller. If the buyer's agent would have just asked that question, we would have been able to have the conversation that they're not prepared to move out that quickly. They have a lot of things that have to happen. So just because you have a buyer that can close really quickly, make sure that you're having that conversation with the seller's agent that, you know, is that something the seller's going to even want? So that was a big thing for me. And then the other thing that came up was, Frankie, you're saying that you have this guy that's FHA. He's coming into some money. Maybe his prices are coming up a little bit more and he's having a really hard time finding a multifamily that's going to go FHA. So then maybe the conversation really needs to be with the buyer, right? About his options in regards to making his offer stronger by offering to pay for the FHA repairs himself, because he can do that. And if he has the extra money, you can write it into the offer like that. Like, hey, yep, they're an FHA, you know, we're totally prepared. You know, walk through the house. I have a feeling we're going to need some handrails here. You know, I already had the conversation with my buyer. We're going to go ahead and take care of any FHA repairs that are required on our own. And that really helps.
You know, we just looked at a house.
Those are just the two things I
same thing you're saying. The same thing you just said right there, though. We looked at a house because he's also looking for like maybe like a bigger single family house because he wants like rent it out too to like kids at Sacred Heart or wherever he's going to be close to Quinnipiac and stuff. So we found a really good one. Like it was really, really nice. It was perfect for him, the wife, the dad. Everyone loved this house. But he was gonna have a contracting company come in and do the work that it needed, like before, he closed on it and all, because it did need some work to go with his FHA. But it's bank owned, and like they just really weren't going for that. So like that kind of heartening there.
Yeah,
I thought we were gonna get that because of that.
Typically, the banks aren't going to let you do any
Yeah.
repairs on property. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Lauren,
it was bad.
Lauren, you
But
had
it is
your hand
hold
up.
on, I'm drinking my coffee right now. And yeah, I did ask the listing agent, I'm like, hey, would a 30-day close be good? I'm sorry, I'm spacing out. Like, I'm drinking coffee and all that.
Yeah.
And she did. So I did get like the okay that the sellers wouldn't mind doing a 30-day close. So
Good.
yeah, my bad.
Good. Now, hey, they're okay with it, but is it their preferred? We want this thing served up on a silver platter, right? That every term possible in our offer is exactly what that seller wants. When we're in multiple offer situation, we don't have any leverage as the buyer's agent. We've got to basically roll over and say, what's it going to take? When we're the only offer on the table, it's been sitting for 75 days, we can start to control the terms. But when you're in a multiple offer situation, roll over, tell your buyers to roll over. If you want this house, we're going to have to do whatever that seller wants, right? Including, Frankie, we need the last at bat. Hey, Julie, look, like these guys absolutely love this property. I know you guys are in multiple. I know we talked about the lender. I know you talked to my lender. Like if this is within a few $1,000s, just can you promise me that I'm going to get the last at bat, right? I can't guarantee these people are going to go up and over whatever you got, but there's a darn good chance, right? I think we got our best offer on the table, but Julie, will you just promise me you'll give me that last at bat? Because I know these guys want this property. Hard to say no to that, right? You still might get a no, but we got to empty all the bullets in the gun, guys. If we've got a ready, willing, and able buyer that wants to move, this is our job. Get the offer accepted. It boggles my mind, when we hear from our listing agents that 3/4 of the agents literally just sent an email. You want to get deals accepted? The stuff that we're talking about this morning, this is how you get deals accepted. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you're not asking the questions, you're not going to get the answers, and you're going to get, Frankie, great offer, man. I hope we can do the next one, but we're going with another offer. Right? I don't want you guys to have to hear those words. Right? You can't win everyone. Absolutely not. But you've got to know that you at least emptied all the bullets. Lauren.
I just wanted to add, because you're outlining really great conversations here, and I do see a lot of newer agents on here, and it can get very overwhelming trying to remember all of that. And I just wanted to remind everybody that in our critical real estate conversations, the conversation with the list agent, with a lot of these points, as well as some really good questions to ask them straight out, are in there. This is not a conversation we should be having on the fly, right? We should be sitting, we should be preparing for this conversation so we can have that in front of us as a really good resource to get yourself comfortable with these conversations.
What did I miss? What else can we say? We got some experienced agents on the call too, right? What else can we say? What conversation did I miss in trying to get this offer accepted? I talked about my lender. I got my lender calling. I talked about maybe leaving the furniture. I talked about the closing date, right? Maybe we can talk about inspections, right? Hey, I know that we've got inspections on there. Man, would it help if I just said, hey, because I don't think they're going to back out of something tic-tacky here, Julie, right? Maybe if we just put a limit, hey, I promise, unless it's like a major repair, something over $5,000, right? Would something like that help if I could get language like that into our offer? Right? And we got to go back to our buyers and say, hey, look, like if you're not willing to waive inspections, can we at least put something in there that says, we're not going to back out because of some tic-tac stuff. Let's put a limit It's going to have to be something major. Hey, we didn't realize it was going to need a roof. We took a look at it. Turned out there's multiple layers after inspection. It's got some issues. This is 10 grand. We weren't expecting this,
I don't like the limit language personally as a listing agent.
Okay, talk to me.
It just makes me uncomfortable.
If I can't waive it, the limit is to me the next best thing.
I rather someone have the conversation with me, which is what I have when I am on the buy side. And I had one recently when we said, yes, inspections for info only. I said, I'm not giving you a limit or anything, but if major things come up, then we are going to come back with a conversation. But my buyer understands we're not nickel and diming you. And yes, some major things came up and we were able to negotiate a credit. Which I would have done the same thing or accepted the same thing if I was on the other side, because it would be things that came up with every buyer. There was like mold, things like that. The limit in the offer just kind of gives me an ick. I don't know how to explain it, but I just don't like seeing a number because it's like something is coming almost. I don't know. That's just my feelings on it. As a listing agent, I don't like it.
I want to hear from more people.
I just got an offer accepted with a limit. That was the last piece of the negotiation.
So couldn't get him to waive. Said, hey, look, I know you're not happy about these inspections. Just talk me through it, Pat.
Yeah. Sorry, I went out of turn. I forgot to raise my hand. So basically, we were going back and forth, right? They wanted a number. We went like 50 grand under that number. We went back and forth until we hit the right number. But they said, if we're going to go to that number, then it's as is. And my clients weren't comfortable with that. So we went back at them and just said, hey, listen, that number is agreeable for us as well, but we don't want to take it as is. So would you agree that, we'll only ask you for any sort of repairs if it's over X amount of money? And they were like, deal. So, I do understand what Carolina's saying because I get that side of it as well. And I also, especially in Northampton, we get it all the time. Like, hey, if you're not waiving, we're not accepting. And that I think is incredibly ridiculous, but it is what it is, I guess, up here.
Pat,
But
it
yeah,
sounds like that was, you were in a negotiation type of situation. It wasn't multiple offers, right?
No, it was. They were threatening that there was multiple offers coming in, but it didn't seem that way to me. Obviously, why would they be negotiating with us if they had other offers coming in? They basically said, we want to negotiate with you, but we may have other offers coming in. So it seemed to me like that was just a ploy to be like, hey, try to get us to go up on a higher number. But yeah, I do use that, I agree with you. I don't like waiving. I never recommend that, but in certain situations, like if it's a condo with just a water heater, I've recommended that. But like when there's mechanicals and things, and I tend not to waive. I guess maybe I should just tell people to waive because that seems to be how people are getting offers accepted. But I don't know. I don't. Like the limit gives you the ick. Waiving inspection gives me the ick. Like I feel like I'm not doing my buyers the right service if I tell them to waive inspection. And then what happens if what happens if something goes wrong in the next month and now they're calling me like, man, if we had an inspection, I would have known this. And then so I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
I definitely don't ever tell them to waive, but I also give it as an option. But I don't think most do take that option. But I think my whole thing with me saying gives me the ick, it gives me the ick when I have multiple offers and someone puts that in. But it really sounds like those people did not have multiple offers. They were just kind of dicking you around.
Right, let me just throw devil's advocate, Carolina. You got 3 offers. You're in a multiple offer situation. You're the listing agent. You've got 3 that are saying info only, and you've got 1 that says, hey, look, we're doing inspections, but 5,000 is the limit. Anything more than that, you'd rather the info only. Because to me, the info only is bullshit. That's the way I've always felt, bullshit. Yeah. That's why I'm like, in that scenario,
like
that's what I always get with info only too is, yeah, you say info only, but all that means to me is that you're going to walk away if there's something wrong. Like that's the answer I always get.
Yeah. Megan, you've had your hand up a bit. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, when I'm presenting offers in a multiple offer situation, one has that number. The way my sellers typically look at it is they're like, okay, when they're looking at the net number, they're essentially calculating potentially that maximum amount in and then deciding, you know, do we want to risk it on inspections that it could be more, or do we just want to go with this offer because we know the inspection, if anything comes up, it's not going to be more than whatever number has been potentially put in the offer.
So just kind of like a head for your sellers going, all right, the offer's 400, figure that they're going to max their $5,000. So we're at 395 really with this offer. It's
Right.
kind of what's in their head. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then some of
Okay.
them, you know, because again, this is when you're, you know, because the info, like everyone is saying, the info only looks good on paper, but we all know it doesn't mean anything. And especially, you know, Connecticut's the same way. They have that as is thing, but it's basically the same language. So sometimes from, you know, at least in recent history, when there's been an actual number, you know, my sellers have been more open to that just because they're like, okay, well, we know it won't be more than this. So I feel better about that. Or some, you know, that's at least
Version
been
of
the
that,
case
yeah.
with me.
But isn't the number saying that it won't be less than that? Because isn't it saying we're not going to request anything unless it's more, it's going to cost more than this? Or is the language different in what you're talking about?
No, I think you're right, Carolina. Right? Like with the language that I'm talking about, that's a good point, right? The language that I'm talking about says, hey, look, we're not coming after you unless it's a big ticket item. So if it's under 5, right? So yeah, interesting point there, right? Meg, like,
So no, mine
can't
were
really,
always always the other way. Like as long as it's not, it's basically only
we won't
like,
ask. Okay, I see what you're saying. So we won't ask for more than $5,000 worth
correct.
of repairs.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So there's 2 ways to write it up, right? So good points here, right? So everybody's clear on the 2 different ways. Way one is, hey, no more than $5,000, but if there's some stuff, you know, we'd like to have a $5,000 limit on what we can ask for. And then the second way is, hey, we're not going to nickel and dime. We're only going to ask if something major were to come up. All right, let's keep going down the list. Sue Anderson, you were next.
Okay, so we had our inspections yesterday, and we still have.
Sue, is this on the same topic or is this different?
I came in kind of late into the conversation.
All right, so let me just, does anybody else with their hand up? The next person would be Jen. Want to talk to the same topic?
Yes, it's regarding the same topic. I just wanted to say,
Okay.
I know how the whole info for inspections for informational purposes sounds, and I also don't really care for it because, you know, I mean, you hope that people are truly doing it that way. So when I talk to buyers, I say, listen, I would obviously never recommend anyone waive inspections because you should know what you're buying. And I guess I have the same concern. If something happens, they're going to come back or whatever. And I've just never had somebody say, yeah, I want to waive inspections. So I just shorten up that time frame. Let's get this done ASAP so we can get back to them and let them know that we're ready to move forward, you know, not have a long period. And then instead of saying informational purposes, I just have the conversation with the buyers. You know, you can have this inspection, know what you're buying, and we'll just let them know that you're not going to be requesting any repairs. I mean, of course, if it's a type of home that they have some concerns and they don't want to say that, then we don't have to write that in. But if they say, no, I really like it, I'll let them know. We can say you're not gonna ask for repairs. But if something is, you know, really going to prevent you from moving forward, then you'd have to be okay with walking away, you know, if you don't want to move forward with that, and we'll let them know. And I guess at that point, if they're okay with walking away and the sellers understands why, then I guess at that point it would just be up to the seller, but the buyer would have to be okay with walking away. So it's kind of letting them know we're not asking for repairs if we're going to put it through this way, not just info only, and then maybe ask for repairs, you know? So getting them to understand, like, you're not going to ask for anything unless something's like super major and you want to walk away, and then you have to be comfortable walking away. And we can certainly let the seller know what that is. And maybe the seller says, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Like, that could prevent me, you know, like that could be a big problem. I would have a problem with that. And maybe they take care of it. Some sellers are that way. Others may say, okay, well then move on. But I just try to prepare them, you know, that may be something you have to do if it's a big enough of an issue. Kind of just puts it into
Yeah.
perspective, I think.
So a few things I want to highlight here. One thing is, and we haven't talked about this, but Jen kind of touched on it, is we can also put in there, hey, you know what? My clients are only concerned about the HVAC system, right? So, or they're concerned about the foundation, or they're concerned about the roof, right? So, hey, the only thing that we're looking to inspect is this, right? And you're not going to use this a lot, but it is, there are going to be times where you might be able to use that specific language. This is the only thing that my people aren't comfortable with. They want to get this piece inspected. The second thing that Jen mentions is the timeline, right? So 7 or 10 days to do inspections. Now the seller is pulling the property off the market for 7 to 10 days, waiting for your inspections, only to find out, you know what? We're backing out, and now I've lost my mojo and everything. Hey, look, we're doing inspection, but I've already got the inspection scheduled for tomorrow. That's a lot different, right? So please understand timelines, have inspectors ready to go, talking to them. Hey, I'm close on a negotiation. Can you guys be out there tomorrow? It might be the difference between me getting this deal accepted and not. All right. And then the third thing that Jen kind of touched on and I wanted to highlight was the conversation with the seller, with your buyer about waiving. You guys should never, ever, 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 ever feel guilty about that something could go wrong with the property. But you absolutely need to explain to them that this is a strategy to get your offer accepted. Hey, look, I get it. It's scary. Most of my clients don't do it, right? But I know a lot of times we're losing out to those that can do this. So you need to know, if you're not willing to do this, we might lose this property. Do you have a contractor buddy that could do a second showing with us? Right? Maybe we can get in there tonight. He can take a look at it, make you feel a little bit more comfortable before we go ahead and waive these inspections. Right? So if we can have a proper conversation, you guys should never, ever feel guilty about one of your clients waiving inspections. You didn't tell them to do it, but you got to make sure they understand that it's an option. And like you're saying, Pat, in Northampton, or a really competitive market, it's almost like you kind of got to do it. Amber, you were next.
Similar to what Jen said, usually I've been on both sides. So when I get one that says info only, I reach out to the agent and say, what do they mean by that? As a buyer's agent, I put in language that says, we're only looking for major structural and mechanical issues, major termite damage. Obviously, if there's termites, it's easy enough to take care of. I have a guy. Furnace, foundations, roof, and major electrical, like major electrical. And I let the listing agent know that. The thing about inspections is, I like to get them done quick, like Jen said. But we have to understand that inspectors are not, they know a little bit about everything. They cannot see behind the walls. They can't, they can tell you this furnace is really old, but at the time it's functioning. I've had it happen where, it's in the report. It's really old. This is, the things that could go wrong, but it's working at the time of walkthrough. It's working at the time of inspection. So getting an inspection quickly is great, but the price of an inspection versus a home warranty are pretty similar. So if we have to waive them, get the home warranty. And if you want to get an inspector in there after, just to make sure that you know what's coming, it is how I try to deal with it. I mean, I obviously don't talk anybody into anything, but we were in a really competitive market. So sometimes that's what had to be done.
So,
So
Steve,
just one of the things that I wanted to highlight with what Amber said, right? If you are going to waive, right? Hey, look, I understand that's scary. I want you to take a look at what this home warranty has to offer. Please read all the fine print, right? But you could do this, and it's going to cover a lot of stuff for your first year. Please make sure you read the fine print on this. I want you to be comfortable, but I know a lot of clients, this eases a little bit of the anxiety of not being able to do an inspection. All right, Keely, you were next.
Yeah, my question has nothing to do with inspections. So if you want to move on to somebody else that has one, I could put my issue in the round table.
All right, Jen, and then Jen, was yours on this same topic?
It is. One of the other ways I get my offers accepted is if I know my buyer's like, oh, I'm going to waive inspections, so let's find the house, whatever, because I've had some like that. I do tell them, you know, if you have a family member or a friend or someone that wants to come take a look at the house with you and just look at the mechanicals quick, you know, that would be a great idea. And that's usually what they do. And
Yeah, getting the,
that they
the
feel
contractor friend on
about it.
on a second
Yeah.
showing just it's huge. It gives them such a comfort level. Um, you know, and you guys know if you've done a few inspections, there's a few things that could really cause a problem, right? There's a lot of tick-tacky stuff that you're going to have to fix over time, but there's only a few things that are really, you know, major electrical, major structural, you know, major termite, roof, HVAC, septic, underground oil tank. Like those are the major things. And if you get a fairly, you know, a good contractor, 30 minutes through a house, you should be able to ease your buyer's mind for sure. Sue, you were next.
Okay. Whoop. So my last buyer did waived inspections, but he is in the business. He's a roofer. So, and his brother was contractor, windows, doors, and all that. So that house went through smoothly, and he didn't have any issues after the closing. I haven't heard back from him, so that's a good thing. But having someone that's knowledgeable is a good thing for your buyers to bring along. But so my second thing, which I was bringing up, was that I had inspections yesterday, and the HVAC system has a problem, and there's some electrical. So my buyer is asking me to bring in some contractors before like negotiating anything with the house, and we have till September 1st. So the list agent is allowing us to bring in somebody, but she does want the reports also. But we, you know,
Yeah, you're just saying you know, on top of your home inspection, you're also just bringing in a professional, right? So, hey,
right,
the home inspector says we got a problem with the electrical panel, right? But a home inspector is not an electrician. Sometimes you get the electrician out there, they're like, yeah, it's a little odd, but it's fine, right? Or, no, this is a problem. It's going to be $2,000 to fix this. And so now you've got the right ammunition to go back to the buyers, educate them, talk to your listing agent. Hey, we had the electrician actually take a look at it. There's no issue. We're not going to be asking for anything. Or he looked at it, and this is actually bigger than the home inspector even thought, right? And so here's what we're asking for.
yeah. So she's allowing us. I've set up an electrician, and now I just have to get it. You know, HVAC. I reached out to Jared. Buyer didn't realize there may be a fee for that. So that's where I'm at right now with
Good.
this upcoming.
Good. George, you were next. Did we lose you? You muted? You're muted.
I'm here. Sorry.
There
I'm
you
here.
go.
Okay, good morning. Happened to me that before I have a client that reject to do the inspection, and I have an email of this client telling me, you know, I don't think we should do the inspection. I thought, okay. Later, when he buy the house, he accused me that he didn't do the inspection because I told him not to do it. He said, no, look, I have this email, and that's helped me to prove that I don't have any kind of problem. Always recommend to have inspection, but try to have something in writing if the client
Yeah.
decline not to do it.
Yeah, this is a great point. We actually want to go one step further than an email. We've got to have an inspection waiver. If you've never used the inspection waiver form, take a look at it. It basically twice says we are recommending that you do a home inspection. You are choosing not to do the home inspection, right? Very, very important. If we're going to waive, that we get that document signed, because we never want that to come back and burn us. So great point, George. KB.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody is aware, just because this is a really important topic. But we do have an article that's in Zendesk, and there's also an email template that you can send out to your buyer clients, and it's titled "How to Strengthen Your Offer." And all of these things that we've brought up this morning are in there in writing, so that way you guys can go through, review them. If you have questions about how any of it works, make sure you ask, because you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're utilizing those different strategies. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew it was available.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you should be utilizing that document, guys, is when you guys are doing buyer's consultations, like one of the strong points that you've got to bring to the table is your ability to negotiate a deal, right? Sending out listing alerts, anybody can do that. Show a house, anybody can do that. Who can get the offers accepted? Who can negotiate a deal? Who can keep a deal together? Who can get a deal past an impasse, right? And so pulling out the ways to strengthen your offer at a buyer's consultation, say, hey, here's the typical strategies that I use. Which ones are you guys comfortable with? And let's say we've got 15 on the list, right? And they might say, I'm not comfortable with many of these. Okay, no problem. I just wanted you to know what your options are. And we're going to go and we're going to try and write offers, at least using the 3 that you are comfortable with. And if you're not getting your offers accepted, then you bring that list back out and you say, hey, look, I know before you told me you weren't comfortable with the inspection waiver, but like, do you think you've got somebody in the family that's a contractor that maybe we could just get, if we're, get a second showing and take a look at it? If we could start adding this to our arsenal, that when we're going in, we're trying to get our offers accepted, that we can waive an inspection, I think it's really going to help us, right? And so after a couple of losses, maybe they're open to do a few things on the list that they weren't open to up front. Pat, I think you were next.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, in clauses to consider, there's different languages that we have for with regards to inspection, and I've been eliminating. I don't remember exactly how it reads, but it reads something like, buyer's going to do inspection for information purposes only, and they will only ask for single item repairs over X amount, and then you put a number in, right? But I've been actually eliminating the info only part of that statement. Basically, I just make it, buyer's going to do inspection and they are going to only ask for single item repairs over X. And I don't know if that's something we can look at in clauses just to kind of like, I know it's one, the way it reads is the way it reads. You're just copy and pasting it. But like, I've been taking that info part out. So I don't know if that's something maybe we can look at and just see if maybe there's 2 ways we could put it in there rather than one, to get rid of that info only part of it. And then number 2 is, I did hear that in Massachusetts Congress right now, there's a law that's basically it's in the Congress right now. It's going through that basically says that in Massachusetts, you're not going to be able to waive inspection anymore. If it passes, it kind of levels the playing field, and we're all going to have to get better at, even if we don't like the language, it's still going to be part of, how we're going to have to do business. Hey, we'll only ask for stuff over X, or maybe info only becomes more important because you can't waive.
Yeah, this is all good, and I agree. I think we need to take a second look at that language. I don't know that we want to start with info only. So we'll take a look at that. So thanks for bringing that up. And then, if you didn't catch it there, the other strategy that he's throwing out is, hey, major electrical over $2,000, major structural over $5,000. You could have a couple of different line items on there to just say, hey, look, again, we're just trying to ease the seller's mind of we're not going to come in with little itty bitty things here. Sue, you had your hand back up.
Yeah, as I was talking to the seller's agent, she had said to me, the seller is a contractor, has a lot of contractors in the house, and they've done a lot of work on the home. And with that, I told my buyer, maybe we should look into the town and see if permits were pulled, because sometimes they don't. And in this case, we have a feeling that the electrical box was not put in with permits. Yeah, because there's certain things that were going on in the box, and the inspector's like, I think this was one man's electrician doing this work. So and the other thing is, when I did tell the agent about some of the things going on, she goes, well, we can have his family contractors come in and fix. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that one. But I didn't say that to her. It was in my head.
Yeah. Again, a lot of these little things just depend on who's got the leverage. right? And what we're able to request. But this conversation today, guys, is the difference between the elite agents and the agents that are just spinning their tires, showing houses and writing offers and not getting anything accepted. You've got to drive the bus. You got to use all the bullets. You got to ask the questions. You got to be a deal maker. You really, really do. So I hope there were a couple nuggets in here today. Frankie, I appreciate the transparency and a great share to get us started. I think this is one of the more important topics. This is a skill. When we talk about negotiation skills, you know, I think these are some of the conversations that we've really got to be comfortable with. And just keep prying at that listing agent. And some of them aren't going to give you the time of day. But if you can get into a little bit of rapport and you can slip a question in and you can get a lender to call and maybe the lender can get you a little bit more info, right? All these little things, you're just trying to get that slight little advantage over everybody else. So if you had a couple of nuggets that we didn't talk about today, let's wrap up today and maybe we can share more on this tomorrow because this stuff is super important. So appreciate everybody jumping on and everybody's feedback and different angles that coming at this. This is great stuff. Love talking real estate when it starts negotiations. This is always my favorite part. The deeper that you get in, when you've got so much, when you get into this business, just learning the forms and learning the MLS and learning the CRM, like it's difficult to get started. But and then once you're in, you know, year one, year two, like this is the fun stuff. Is like, man, I can't believe I got that. Right? Like, I can't believe that worked. Or, you know what, I tried this on this other deal. Let me try this. You know, and this is where you can get the juices going. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Have yourselves a great Wednesday. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.